Hello, welcome back to the show. Thank you for listening here. And the title of the video is Make Interracial Marriage Illegal Again. Um, I'm going to run for president. You can write me in. It'll be Raincat Charlie Chan 2020. And, different candidates run on different promises. And I'm running on illegalizing interracial marriage. You know what? Look at what Trump's done. He's run on the promise of ending immigration, and there's record immigration in the United States this year. He said he was going to stop outsourcing. Well, all the factories were already outsourced from America like 30 years ago, and they drugged everyone on opioids, so no one even has realized what happens. And when Trump talks about it, people get nostalgic, and basically it's all propaganda. It's all controlled opposition. I don't think I'm going to beat the president in an election running on the promise of legalizing interracial marriage and putting an end to it, but I don't know. I could get somewhere. Could go further than just this video. I think I need to come up with a better slogan, because I don't want to be promoting any racism here or anything like that. Like, black people, like, they can get married. White people can get married. I'm just saying interracial marriage, it's not going to work. And it already is like this, of course. We're free, right? And those kind of relationships don't end up happening in real life. And, I'm very open about who I am and what I believe. I only ever got to finding out about all this stuff about politics and getting interested in the first place because I was in a relationship with a woman from another race, and it went very poorly, and like you'd expect it, but she's a very political person, right? Like, so it made me interested in like maybe the opposition of her views or something because of my experience. But what I found out was that the right is right no matter how far right you go, and the left is a bunch of commies, and they lie and they make propaganda, and it's all about gaming the system and creating a revolution through disorder by changing, basically the very fundamentals of society and civilization, and attacking basic concepts such as race. And so maybe that's why you get interracial marriage. I don't know. But I mean, like, what's the percentages? To do this campaign, I'm gonna have to get it. I'm gonna have to find out. But like, it cannot be that much, right? Like if you look at 100% of marriages in this last year, how many were interracial? I'm sure it's less than 10%, I'm guessing. So just making it illegal is like, it's not going to really affect that big of a group. And if you're already married interracially, go ahead, stay in that marriage. It's not going to be a retroactive law or anything like that. And I also make gay marriage illegal too. I can't believe gay marriage is legal. I don't know why I have to worry about becoming president now. There won't be a presidency in 10 years at the rate things are going. It's a full Western civilizational collapse here. I mean, when you have gays marrying each other. I was watching this one guy stream last night, Trumpster Bob. I wanted to replay it here just for the laughs, but at the same time, it's like I can't even play what he was saying. And he's an older guy, and he says he's conservative, but really he was a Democrat his whole life. And all that's kind of happened is it's, the leftist politics have gone so far to the left that the he's now a Republican, and he didn't really change himself or anything he believes. And it was funny, he was talking last night about how, how he's not gay, but like he can get drunk and have sex with a man and he's not gay. But it was way more pornographic than that, and it was disgusting. But I went and argued with him a little bit about it because of what he was saying. It was kind of, he sounded like he was just a very predatory, power bent, kind of like monster for. I think it's unfair to say he was being gay. It's like he was just saying, like, I can have sex however I want, whenever I want, and you know what? That's what we're being sold from liberalism. And I don't want to just go attacking the left. I'll attack the right too. He says he's conservative, and for sure that's the libertarian viewpoint of the whole thing. Do what you want to do. What you do in your home behind closed doors is your business. I guess on the right side of the political ideology to think that kind of thing about sexuality. I don't know. Really, I mean, I'm listening to people on YouTube talking philosophy or communism, capitalism, left, right. None of these things are really real. I mean, the division between the left and the right and communism and capitalism is like a distinction that was being made to describe the social order of things 100 years ago, and they don't really apply to today. I think today the social order is divided by race and religion and ethnicity, unlike it was 100 years ago, where you had monocultural societies. And I think today we're more divided between probably religion than we have been since probably 800 years or something, when back when the Muslim were still more influential, and back when there was splits going on right between the church. Like it's like that time again. It's like we've gone back into the Middle Ages. It's kind of like the slow dissolution of society, because I see these divides between the three Abrahamic faiths now as being like important, like they weren't 100 years ago. And that's what the political discourse was 100 years ago: communist, capitalist, left and right. And today I would say that in analyzing, the sociology and political division, it's more coming down on the lines of race and religion, as it always has, but not so much, because 50 years ago there was like you could be, I don't know, like you could have people that they didn't care what religion someone was, but they were in the same political party and that kind of thing. Now today it's like I'm sure most people in one church is like going to be voting for one political group. Maybe it was like that in the past, I don't know, but it doesn't seem like it was that important of a divide. And for me too, personally, like talking about, interracial marriage should be illegal. I feel like, hey, I don't think it was illegal by religion, and I want to go off religion on this. I'm pretty sure it is legal, but it wasn't in the United States. It was illegal by the church, like in the U.S. So the, whatever you call it, evangelical church, but in the Catholic Church, it was legal. And that's why you see such a different type of people between the Latin and the American. And for me, being from the Latin religion, not so much ethnically, I feel like, I shouldn't necessarily say the U.S. was right on their laws going back to, the old Jim Crow time or whatever. Like, I feel like, I'm supposed to reject that kind of thing. But at the same time, I reject so much of the Catholic teaching. I'm only simply saying that I know something about the Catholic religion simply because of some, family history or something, and I studied something. It's not like I can't make political decisions or something outside from something personal like that. And it's true, though, that most Catholics are that way. I'm sure if you looked at like Catholic people that took a poll and looked for Republicans and Democrats, it's going to go down like 50-50, right? But if you took a poll with like Muslims or born agains or something, it's like they're all going to be Democrat or they're all going to be Republican. It's an interesting thing to think about. I got some root beer here. I'm only getting one viewer right now. I've been blacklisted. I thought I should stream right now because there's no good live streams going on. Usually I'd just be watching YouTube at this time. And I haven't been live streaming as much, although I did it the last 3 days. I'm just trying to get my channel shut down. Will we be allowed to say, make interracial marriage illegal without getting a channel deleted? I don't know. Probably not. This is probably the last video I get. Maybe. I think, it's ridiculous, though, what they can say on here. So I think they have to allow kind of like oppositional viewpoints. I mean, they want to flood the internet with pornography and obscenity and stuff. And so it's hard to regulate it when someone comes and speaks like an idea that is contrary to the kind of mainstream idea of things like, marriage and politics, right? But they kind of have to let that go. And then they say, well, then you got to say your word in, and now we're going to, sell a bunch of sex dolls, go subscribe to Halsey. It's a farce. It's clown world, right? And it's just pathetic, how the way that it's a natural thing, right? Like there's no interracial marriages going on. When was the last time you saw an interracial couple? No one sees it. It's just some imaginary thing. It doesn't happen. And but it has to be a law, right? There has to be a law saying it's illegal when it used to be illegal. Why'd they have to change that? So they could change other laws too. And it's just all about rewriting the whole Constitution nowadays. I mean, what's the Constitution left of it? Nada. I watched the Democrat debate, and one thing that struck me about it was that obviously, I think Bernie Sanders, he sounded coherent, kind of, as much as he can be, but like, especially like the other candidates, they all sounded like, or they looked like too, their faces and the way they talked, they sounded like they were drugged. And I don't mean like sedated necessarily. I mean like they were mixing sedatives and whatever you call it, speed of some kind. Like, because especially Biden, like the way he was talking, like he sounded like he was really like in tune, even though the words that were coming out of his mouth, like they were so meaningless, but at the same time, he spoke very clear and he wasn't really making like mistakes. Well, some people were saying he was kind of mumbling, but it was weird. He could like put together sentences without saying any idea, which is the opposite of what a sentence is. It's an idea, but he was able to speak in a way where he could like go on for 30 seconds without really even making a point. It's pretty incredible. And I think that's a characteristic maybe of someone who's really high. Like they can speak well and say nothing. I don't know. But Trump too, the president, I mean, he looks like he's been sedated during the last few speeches he's made too. All their eyes, they all look like bugged out. Like they got like one like halfway open and the other one like popping out. And they talk like this kind of but then at the same time, they're not like falling over and passing out. Yeah, it's just they definitely drug these politicians. It's scary. And then no one says anything about it. They're like, it's just the comments just come down now to like laughing at this Pete butt plug's name. Like the guy, oh, he's running for president, he's gay, and his name's Butt. Oh, and that's like all people will say when they're watching the Democratic debate. But you know what? Like, of everything going on, you know, I'll analyze it. Biden, being the elder white man, is the only person that said anything relevant or close to true when he talked about. He just spit it out for 2 sentences. None of the other candidates were talking about this, and I remember Trump talked about it back when he won in 2016. Was the opioid crisis, and Biden said that the pharmaceutical company directors had to go to jail. Now, of course, this is rhetoric. They'll just talk about this. It'll never happen. And you still will go out on the street every day and see 100 people, if you're in a city, that are all whacked out and forever addicted to these drugs. And at least Biden, being the wisest, did include lip service to this plight, this plague that fell on America. You know, of course, yeah, we've always had some culture of, you know, whatever, kicking it back, right? Like people got to live, right? You know, back in the day, like grandfather drank some whiskey or something, right? But they developed like these super drugs and they just destroyed us with them. And they're not like, it's nothing, even whiskey is something that's modern and developed. And it was even like, I remember I read the book, 200 Years Together. That says some interesting things about hard alcohol and how it was spread in Europe. No one's in my chat. I've gone 18 minutes. I'm starting to feel like I'm winding down here. This is the point in the show where if I just go on for another like 10 minutes and sludge through it, I'm going to start getting viewers giving me ideas or chats to read and something to talk about. Really, the problem might be my shirt. I went shirtless this time, and I'm usually very modest, and I look different, and I look better with a shirt on for sure. So I'm gonna keep streaming and try to read some chats if I get any in here. But I'm gonna put on a shirt because it's the feminists, you know. They're all like, oh, how come men can not wear shirts and women have to wear shirts? Well, Go ahead, women, take off your shirts, please. I would like to see more women not wearing shirts too. I'm completely behind that. But watch what happens when a man takes off his shirt, and watch what happens when a woman takes off her shirt. It's a complete opposite effect. I have returned, and I lost my only viewer. It says 0 viewers now. Sometimes before, though, I've seen like 5 people in the chat at once, and I had only 0 views on my counter. I wonder who's streaming. I'll check. See on YouTube why I have no viewers now. There's got to be like a big stream going on with 10,000 viewers. No. All my subscriptions, no live feed. But like on YouTube, I like to watch the live feed streams always. And then it's more interesting because anyone can type in the chat and say something like about what the person streaming is saying. And so it's kind of interactive TV, right? I'm looking at my face in the camera and I'm thinking, is my face asymmetrical? You know? Because I was listening to that one guy talking about symmetrical faces is like the most important thing for sexual attraction. And you know what? My face is a little bit asymmetrical. So this could be the reason why I'm still single. And I always have been. But it's not that, I don't think it's that it's asymmetrical. I think that my posture's a little off. Like I'm always leaning. I'm always leaning. Like, so it looks like, you know, you're seeing only one side of my nose all the time when I'm facing the camera. Yeah, and the way I corrected it now was I actually turned my body, so now I'm leaning towards the camera. This reminds me, if my back's out of joint, I need a chiropractor, right? I don't want to talk about this chiropractor story. I don't believe in them. I think they're fake. I mean, who needs a chiropractor? Like, you think your back will be fixed because some guy pushed on it so it made a crack? I can make my back crack. I don't need to go. Just did it. But it didn't fix anything for me. No, you got to exercise. You got to work out every day, stretch, lift weights, stretch more, lift more weights. Gradually, you can get good posture. Not overnight. Certainly not in one chiropractic session. Maybe I should change the title of the video. I'll change it to Rain Cat Running for President. Just because I changed the title of my video doesn't mean that I'm changing my platform. Oh, it says an error occurred. I wonder if my video is even live right now. I bet it got down just for the title. It changed it. I don't think I'm going to get pulled down. Yeah, it's still live on YouTube. The title hasn't changed yet. I'm running for president. I don't think Congress is going to approve the law to get changed, though, honestly, on this one. It's just ridiculous, though, because it's like, it's an idea that, for me, it highlights, like, the fundamental corruption and kind of like the break between the reality of life and the system and law that's imposed on the people. Because, like I said, I've never seen, or I rarely would ever see such thing as an interracial marriage. It was illegal forever, but still, it's legal. So it's just one of those, to me, it's one of those extra laws that it doesn't need to be there. Like, I was thinking earlier today about just the existential problem that you read about in that German author's work, Franz Kafka. He was a German who wrote some books before World War II in like the 1920s, and I think he was Jewish too, and he was Russian too, and German. But basically, his books were all about like how controlled everything in life is by such an impersonal kind of unhuman power, and not in a religious way, not like in a good way at all. He was kind of talking about like, the idea of a system, government, that kind of thing. Like, but his books were really like boring, kind of. But at the same time, they're interesting because it was just basically, I think the essence of his book. Actually, I don't even talk about him. It's the thing Sisyphus, right? The Greek tale, the guy who had to roll a boulder up a hill in hell. And every time he got to the top of the hill, the boulder would get heavier and come back and smash him. Or Vulcan. I think it was Vulcan. No, it's not Vulcan. It's the guy who found fire, Prometheus. Every day he would get his body eaten by birds, and then the spell or whatever the gods put on him would repair his body, and he would get eaten again. And these are all analogies to the impersonal way that everyone's forced to live in the globalized world, right? And what's the point? We're constantly bombarded with like this idea of individuality, freedom, do what you want to do, when in fact everything that I have to do, I need to get watched, analyzed, permission. The only person who would be free of this type of thing would be like a hermit living in the woods. And for all the differences between us, right? Race, religion, None of it means anything. We're all in the same, under watch by the same authority. Now, I'm aware the scripture because all authority comes from God, whether you like it or not. Give to Caesar's what is Caesar's. Well, this was written in a time of books, before the invention of cameras, of data storage, of international connectivity through telecommunications, cheap flights. We just basically have turned the earth into a giant ant farm, like, the ones kids could get back in the day, where you have a piece of plastic and there's some sand and you can see the ants crawling around. We're all ants, and it's, this artificial intelligence is watching us from outside of it. I'm watching myself watch myself to try to, try to put myself in between that surveillance, right? Like, I'm so tired of being surveilled that I'm surveilling myself to try to reclaim my agency. Which condition has to be true for everyone. Only maybe like Clinton and Epstein, or the tribe, they're kind of a little bit out of it. I remember one time I was at the airport and I had to the security, I don't know what they were like, gay for me or not gay for me or something like that. Just, looking at me weird, like, so I might have looked at them weird as well, but I don't think I started it. But anyways, they wanted to look through all my stuff, and it kind of, took me out of the main area into the security zone, or wherever you call it. All the black people have been there. And after they're talking to me for a while, then they're like, okay, they want to figure out, when's my plane going to take off? He can go get on his plane, go. But like, you got, it's taking off soon. They had me there for a while. So they sent me through like, some back doors and stuff. And I ended up in some weird, like, how everything's like closed off in the airport. I somehow was in some weird, like, little hallway, right? Where it goes through everything, and then you have doors and you can like get into the airport where it's closed off. You can't go from the main area into those areas, like a little, sort of little, like, what would you call it? Back doors, right? They're like, oh, you gotta go that way. And I get in there and it's like, I'm going, and then this whole group of like Orthodox looking people, like, with the hats and the clothes and everything, and they're all going through there too. Like, the security zone's over there, and they just go through a side door, and it's pretty funny, So yeah, obviously there's some tribe that doesn't fall under the panopticon of the surveillance state. Does that mean that I don't think they're necessarily in control of it. I think it's like, you know, completely artificial, and it's taking over, and they just have their own way of avoiding it, right? They can get away with it. I don't think that anyone's really watching. It's, you know, it's artificial intelligence. It's not intelligence. The system, it has a mind of its own, you know. It's the golem, right? It's the Frankenstein monster. I don't know why I said golem. I'm sorry. I've just been talking too much and thinking too much about the that stuff, right? No, we have the Frankenstein. I'm pretty sure that the person who came up with the idea of Frankenstein might have stolen it from the golem. I don't even know if I'm saying that right, golem. I think golem is from Lord of the Rings. I don't know. Or was that Smeagol? I only have one view. Anton, is that you watching? Look at Anton says, hey. I lost all my viewers. I have to do a self-promotion campaign or something to get more views. But maybe it's good that no one watches this video except for myself and this one other person I'm watching, who's probably spying on me because they're not saying hello in the chat, even though I said this is one part I like about doing the video. But of course, I admit I'm spying on myself too, so I can understand this feeling, this need to like spy on people. Maybe I should wear my sunglasses, get into disguise mode. I'm drinking root beer. It's just sugar, I think. I'm pretty sure the flavor of root beer is just like burnt sugar, like caramelized sugar, but like a little even like burnt. That's why it's brown. Is the string going to end? Yeah, 1%. If I can plug in my charger in time. All right. I'm charging my phone now. My stream's not going to just drop out like it has in the past. Anyway, I've kind of run out of things to say to myself here on the stream. I think I paid for a subscription on StreamYards. So I had so many views on my other streams like a month ago. I wanted to keep doing it. And now I think it's not worth the $20 a month or something. I'll get rid of it. And I can still stream, but I'm not going to stream more than 20 hours a week. That's why I had to pay for it. I did more than 20 hours a month. I mean, 20 hours a month. I did 30 hours a month or something in December, I believe. I think it was worth it. I mean, I didn't do anything else in December. At least I did something instead of nothing. I don't know. But I think just doing it once or twice a week, I'll get under 20 hours a month for sure. Next time I stream, I might be in a different location too. And I can do even like I don't know, a tour or something, charge my phone up all the way, add myself into my own stream, and walk around, go outside, go do something. I don't know. I mean, because this is on my laptop right now. I've seen other people doing these live streams. They have like 30 views or something, but they're doing it from their phone. I don't know how they do it. They set it up on. People say, get the OBS software. I got it one time. I couldn't figure out how to set it up. I don't know why. It can't be that complicated. I'm surprised I have one viewer. It's probably a robot. Well, I'll close off the video by saying I'm not just a one issue candidate. I'm not just running on one thing saying interracial marriage should be illegal. No. I think that gay marriage should be illegal. I think that drugs should be illegal. They mostly are, but marijuana is not. It should be. Abortion should be illegal. Immigration should be illegal for the most part. I'll give if there's Americans that get married to someone that's not American, or if it's a really rich person coming in, like buying up like a bunch of property and business in America, set a certain like minimal investment, maybe $2 million or something. Those two instances, okay, immigration can happen. But if it's a marriage, the foreigner cannot bring family with. Can't. I think in the past they did that for a while, where someone could be married and then the person who got married could bring like their brother and their parents and that kind of thing. I don't know for sure, but for the most part, immigration should be illegal. Not like it is now, you know. It's bizarre because if you think about it, all these things were illegal like 40 years ago or something. And it's all changed since then. Why? Why is it so hard to say we can go back? It's a communist takeover. That's what's happened in America, in the West, everywhere. They're just You can't go back. It's the idea of progress is part of it's one of the mottos of the communist kind of the I don't want to just say communist though, because it's really like they're they're not communist in the sense that that guy Marx was writing about it, talking about anti-capitalism, because they're capitalists too. But it's basically, it's authoritarian, autocratic, and I admit there's like, you know, good things about the world today that our ancestors did not have. There's plenty, right? And if you go back a certain number of years in time, life was not good for most people. And I'm not saying go back to the Stone Ages or anything. I'm just saying that they're pretty much like the way that the government and the law and stuff was set up for my grandfather really like worked well for him, right? And it gave him the most opportunity for him to make the most out of his life. Um, to live, you know, free, and to be free to pursue his happiness. And there was justice, right? And people, I don't care who you are, I think anyone would agree with me when you hear like someone say, "Oh, there's no justice in the world today." Like, no, there's no justice. The only way any of us can find justice nowadays is in faith, in believing that there will be justice someday. There's there's not enough though. Not enough faith or justice. Not enough charity either. Why do I have what I have? Why does someone have less than me? It's not enough love either. Oh, maybe I don't need any charity, but I don't have any love. And how's that different then? Maybe I am poor. If I had love, I would be a lot richer. I always hope when I have one viewer that it's just someone who is a beloved of mine, and our falling out, whatever falling out came between us, is about to evaporate. And though I say I feel like I'm not loved, I do feel like I carry around a lot of good memories of great love, and I never discount the power of love. And of course, my words will get taken and twisted. I shouldn't have said that. That means that I am not a lover. I'm a hater, right? And it comes down to actually everyone has some hate in them. And when I'm called a hater, it's usually that there's too much hate in the world. It's not like I did something. I'm a lover. I'm not trying to promote any hate at all. And it's just like it's really, I'm too honest. I'm too soft. And so it's easy to blame me because I'm always trying to be responsible for everything, right? What's this going on with my camera? It's like all dark over here. But no, it's not really, see? It's just it's the room, there's no light over there. I think that there's someone creeping around in the shadows back there. I thought maybe something was covering up the camera there, but it's not. It's just the pitch black. Although I look back there and it looks plenty of light to me. I can see everything. I better get a higher resolution camera so you can all see where I'm at and everything that's here in the room with me, including the bottles on the fireplace. Hello, Josh Randall. I just want you to see the bottles on the fireplace because of this lack of good faith. I think you might look and see this guy and say, he's been drinking a lot of alcohol or something, right? Like, look at, I just like drinking out of glass containers. That is a thing, you know? There's root beer in here. No alcohol. I don't know. I read some things on the internet about plastic bottles like being unhealthy, and I always knew it. I could taste it when I drank water out of plastic. I could taste like, yeah, the water's been sitting in plastic. Like I could just be licking the plastic and it would taste like that, like the water taste kind of. And there's a different quality of the liquid in the glass. It's higher quality. It's not contaminated. The water or liquid doesn't mix with the glass, but the way the plastic is, it does have a little bit of like, I don't know, what do you call it? Dissolving into it or something. Josh Randall says, we live in a time where only the culturally sanctioned have the right to free speech. Yeah, I've been streaming for 50 minutes. I think I was going into that about 20 minutes ago or something. And would you agree with me when you say culturally sanctioned? You're talking about speech that jives with the plans of the Israeli state and the interests of mostly Jewish business people in the United States? Or would you say what I'm saying is completely a conspiracy theory? Or would you say that I would say we're free to speak our mind. I can say that, right? But the thing is, it's a cultural conditioning, right? It's not so much that I should have said globalist sanction. Yeah, I should just say globalist. Like, why not? You know, they're globalists. There's some good Jews. I like Larry David and Mel Brooks, right? But it's not like people can't say what they want to say, and they can be like critical of anyone. You know, you could be critical of Christians, Muslims. You'd be critical of whites. But the thing is, what makes sense to people? Like, how have we been educated? That's our culture. And like, for example, truth. What's true? What I'm saying is true or not true. It doesn't come across to anyone. We can't. I mean, there's like philosophical arguments that there's no truth, or like a little bit of untruth is kind of necessary for a necessary condition of life and that kind of thing. And those are interesting arguments. But I'm talking about, pretty like basic truths, cannot be comprehended by the masses. Like, people are stupid. And like, who's really running things and who owns everything, and why does the quality of life go down and people think it's going up because of all the drugging and that kind of thing? I mean, and the IQs are lowering, so they're completely oblivious to it. I mean, the movie Wall-E, right, where all the people are like sitting in like flying wheelchairs and they're all obese and stuff. I mean, yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now. But the thing is that then the population can't reproduce, right? So you need immigrants to come in. You can't have these fat people in flying wheelchairs having families and stuff. They still need people to like be whatever, like placeholders in their whole scheme. You know, they need to have social security numbers and stuff somewhere on to make, you know, the bankroll on Wall Street like all filled out. I don't know what I'm exactly trying to get at here, but the immigrants come, you know, and serve that function of growth because our society is so dead as it is. Now the immigrant culture dies too, right? And then they have to bring in more and more. And who knows how long it's been going on for? Probably at least 100 years, because they didn't used to let like certain ethnicities of white immigrate. Then they started letting them, and they started letting other ones come, and now it's to the point where like they're, you know, they're scraping off the bottom of the barrel trying to get, you know, the pygmies and stuff back in. And there'll be no more human resource to draw from for these people soon. And another thing too that will happen is like if there's a global economic crash, right? There's all these foreigners in the West that they're making money off of the West, right? And they're not, they don't consider themselves to be like American or something, but they live like Americans, right? They are becoming American no matter how much they don't want to. We're all around each other, and we're all absorbing information and that kind of thing from each other constantly. And they are coming from cultures though that are very like anti-white and that kind of thing, anti-Christian, that kind of thing. And if there's a global economic crash, these people, the immigrants that are here now, they're not going to be allowed to go back to where they came from, because they're going to be seen as a corrupting influence, because there's no longer money is no longer funneling in from the West into their countries and corrupting them that way. No one's going to get angry about, you know, the end of their culture when iPhones and cars and that kind of thing, right? It's totally going to placate the whole society. But then if there's a crash in the whole, you know, global economy, then there's no way that they're going to even, you know, like let anyone who's ever been out from that country to come back in, because like, you know, there's a similarity, you know, there with what I'm talking about, the truth being suppressed. Like the English culture had like truth was very valuable, right? Like being honest is like a value, and it doesn't exist in other cultures. I mean, like African and Asian, like there's no kind of standards of truth or anything. Like it's all subjective, right? So they can't go back to where they came from, because they've been already even exposed to Western thought, right? They'll call it. They say what, Boko Haram or something in Africa, and it will just be like, it could, I mean, it could get to this point too, though, where there is like an animosity toward, I'm sure there already is on some level, you know, for people that are immigrants in their, you know, in their countries, for when they've lived outside of their country. I'm sure they already have that kind of thing, but I mean, it's not, I don't think it's as much as it could be, but who knows? It could just happen naturally too with time. I'm thinking now about this thing that was in the news today. They're talking about in the UK, there was this woman, her name, I think was like, it was just some funny name, funny like Indian Muslim name, like Shamami or something, Shamami Beg. And she was like this woman that went with terrorists in Syria from the UK. And now the UK is saying she cannot come back to the UK. She's not a citizen anymore of the UK. And then she's saying she's not a citizen of anywhere. And it's all a farce. She's a Bangladeshi, right? She can speak Bangladesh. She could go back to Bangladesh. They're not going to deport her from Bangladesh. It's all just a ploy. There's just this whole legal ploy going on to just, flood the West with anyone from Asia or Africa. And there's no way to legally kind of stop it when they can, someone who's completely part of this culture, right? Like this woman, she was like supporting the terrorist group in Syria, and she's now demanding to be let into the UK. And she's saying as a reason for it, because she's not like from Bangladesh, right? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe she was born in the UK, but I don't think it matters. Even if you're someone that like lives in like a cult or something, or you just live totally separate from society, and you're a part of an ethnic group where there's like a country and there's a language and this kind of thing, and you can't say that you're not a citizen there. I mean, just the only reason they're not a citizen there is because they don't even have like birth certificates in that place. Like it's still, that far behind, right? And I mean, it's just gonna be sad if you see like, a month from now or something, this story develop and it's like, oh yeah, Shamami's going back to London. And now they're gonna have to talk about like, oh, is she gonna go and be put in prison or whatnot? Is she gonna be charged with something? And then they're gonna be like, well, we'll just re-educate her. And then the re-education's just about, like telling the re-educators that they're being intolerant and they need to like lighten up on these extremists and try to understand their point of view. Oh, Josh says he should have said globalist sanctioned. I thought you were telling me I should say globalist. Take the Alex Jones route, right? Just forever talk about globalism. That's another bizarre thing too, because I was talking about Alex Jones before on some of my streams, and now he's saying he's getting banned off YouTube or something on his alternate channel, and I don't think anyone knew it was his until they saw my video, and then they went and researched it, and now they're trying to get rid of him, and they're going after him again. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking I'm a little bit more self-important than I really am, and I also would feel bad about it too because he's the funniest guy. That show is the funniest show I've seen on YouTube ever, and he clearly likes what he's doing, and he gets a lot of money too, donations during his show. Man, I think he donates to himself though to create like this thing like donate to me. Look at all these people, they're donating to me. He's got this big YouTube chat going, and he just goes in there himself and like throws $500 at himself, and then next thing you know, you have like 5 other people throwing $50 donations, and I could be wrong about it too. These two streamers might not be the same, Alex Jones and this other guy, Ghost Politics. But if he gets kicked off YouTube, I think that's why. I think it's because It is Alex Jones, and they've banned him from the platform completely. No matter, how he tries to come in and present himself as anonymous or something, or as a comedy show. Well, it looks like Josh ran away or someone ran away. I still have my one viewer. One, the loneliest number that you ever saw. I guess there's two viewers because I'm watching myself. How did I do, viewer? I think it's just Anton. He came in at the start, watches all my streams. I always come up with these bizarre ideas. Like I would say Anton's not Anton except for I don't know if this is his channel, but I've seen him before on other streams. That is the same guy. I wonder if that's your real name, Anton. I should put my real name up here too. Just go off my real name so I'm more likable. I hate this rain cat thing or Charlie Chan or whatever it says. I just don't want to be a fake. Josh Randall says rain cat. None of us can be taken in good faith these days. Well, if I use my real name, maybe I could. Anton Westenberg, Josh Randall. See, I got all the real people in my chat, right? I got to be real too. I guess I'm kind of real because you can see me, but I told you too, my name's Charlie too. That's for real. I just don't have my last name on there because I don't know why not. It's just because not a lot of people do it. I only see Anton and Josh doing it like that. How many videos do I watch and how many channels where it's just these phony names and avatars and stuff? Just buy into it and think I have to come up with some. It's like hippie stuff, like make up your own name, be a free spirit, right? But I reject that kind of thing too. Maybe my next stream will be Charlie Chan doxes himself. I'll put my email in too. Put my email in all my videos. Have my name. So it's easier then for people to talk to me because I'm not trying to hide anything, right? Of course, I could be violating some sort of speech law, though, I think. Because I feel like I'm not supposed to say the word Jewish. I feel like that's a naughty word. But the thing is, I never swear. I don't even like cursing at all. I don't know why. In my mind, Jew is like a curse word, right? So, it's like an insulting thing to say. Even if someone is a Jew and you're talking about Jewish people, it just sounds insulting. Like it's an insult. It's what I would say to someone that tricked me and stole money from me, right? That's what the word means. It's not. I'm not so sure how I can talk about these Zionist issues with a proper language that will appeal to a wider audience. Well, thank you for watching, and until the next time, have a good one. Adios, ciao, ciao, auf Wiedersehen, até mais. I'm out of here.